can call me Mystic Mike because I predict these things.
Lucas Almeida takes on Michael Aswell this Saturday at UFC Fight Night Rio. And this is a decent fight. You know, Lucas Almeida, been in the UFC since 2022, had some wins, had some losses, coming in off of a split decision loss to Danny Silva. You could argue that he won that fight. It was very close. But before that, had a good showing against Timmy Kwamba, dropped him a few times in that fight to get the decision, was KO'd by Andre Fili before that, was dominated and made to look like a victim on the ground against Pat Sabatini, and knocked out Michael Trizano before that. So win-loss type of guy, 34 years old, tall, rangy for the division, taking on a guy who's a little bit smaller, maybe a little less, more technical, versatile on the feet. But Michael Aswell's a dog, man. He took that last fight against Bellagioki on short notice, had a good showing of himself, was landing some good strikes. There's no quit in the guy. He's pretty tenacious, pretty tough. Had a split decision loss to Bogdan Grad on the Dana White's Contender Series, so interested to see how he can perform coming into this one with a full camp in enemy territory against Lucas Almeida. But like I said, Lucas Almeida, 34, 5'11", with a 71-inch reach, 15-4 in his career, and Michael Aswell is 25, 5'8", 69-inch reach, and 10-3 in his career. So Aswell will be 9 years younger, not even in his prime yet. He's going to be a little bit shorter and give up a 2-inch reach advantage in this one, which I think is going to be significant because Michael Aswell is more of a boxer. Fights out of the 4-ounce fight club. I think it's Joshua Van's gym, Daniel Pineda's gym. So, you know, he's got hands. He showed that in his fight with Bellagioki. You know, he can catch anybody in a fight with small gloves with his boxing skill. But I'm gonna go with Lucas Almeida in this one. Michael Aswell's a dog, you know, and you know I think that he could grit through it and make it a bad night out for Lucas Almeida. But I just think Almeida is very high level on the feet. He's very technical, a lot of tools. He's a Muay Thai black belt, Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's like I said, very talented on the feet. He's kind of like a sniper, picks his shots very well, very precise, feints well, has that very like tall standing Muay Thai stance that you see. Throws kicks, you know, all levels, good leg kicks, good head kicks. And I think that's going to be the big factor in this one because that's something that Michael Aswell doesn't do. He doesn't really check kicks. He doesn't really throw kicks at all, really. He's primarily looking to use his hands to win fights. He doesn't, not the biggest grappler in the world, no submission wins. All of his wins are by decision and knockout. So, like I said earlier, he's got good boxing, training with Joshua Van. He's got decent speed, good feints. But he's really kind of just like a 1-2 merchant on the feet. You know, sometimes he'll extend his combinations. We saw him do that in the Bellagioki fight and have a little bit of success. And granted, that fight was on short notice and up a weight class, and he still had a decent showing of himself against Bellagioki, who's good and has a lot of power. But Almeida, you know, he throws kicks, has good footwork, cuts angles very well, heads off opponents, just uses his footwork really well to push forward and get a lot of offense going on guys. I don't know if Aswell will be able to kind of get respect and be the aggressor with his boxing against somebody like Lucas Almeida, who'll be the bigger guy, more reach, more tools on the feet to kind of keep him at bay and do damage. Almeida's also the guy who will wrestle offensively and look for submissions. He's a jiu-jitsu black belt, like I said. He's got a few submissions on his record. And Aswell can't be taken down. You know, he's taken down 3 times on the Contender Series by Bogdan Grad. So I just don't think Aswell will do enough in this fight with his offense. And I think he's just too one-dimensional with his boxing. I don't think he mixes it up very well. I think he's tough. He's a dog. I think he can go hard for 3 rounds and, you know, has good cardio and has the ability to, you know, continue to put volume out there as the fight progresses. I just think that Almeida is too well-rounded. He's too well-rounded of a skill set. And I think he'll have too many ways to win in this one against a pure boxer. And I think he'll be able to develop a game plan against somebody who's really just looking to box, who can be taken down, who isn't looking to offensively grapple, who isn't throwing kicks. You know, it's just very kind of rudimentary, striking, very simple game plan that he puts together. And again, he's effective with it, but to a degree. I just don't think that type of game plan or skill set is going to work against somebody with the versatility and the variety of skills that Lucas Almeida has. So I just think he'll be able to game plan against it. He'll be able to, you know, use his long range skills, his you know, mix it up with his grappling a little bit better to get a decision win over Aswell, who, you know, I think he's got a chance in this fight. You know, like I said, he's no slouch in the boxing and the striking department. He's going into this with a full camp. Almeida, he can be hit, he can be finished. Obviously, he got finished on the ground, which I don't think Aswell will do, but he got pretty manhandled by Pat Sabatini, who is very good on the ground. But then after that, or before that, I think it was, he got dropped by Andre Fili and put out in that fight. So he's not always the best defensively on the feet, doesn't move his head very well, kind of keeps his head on the center line in the pocket. His defense can be lacking when he is in engagement. So I think that Aswell does have a chance to keep that forward pressure going and chin him, because I don't think Almeida fights as well going backwards as he does going forwards, and vice versa. I think both of these guys are looking to be the ones pushing forward and being the aggressor. So I think it's really this fight's really gonna hinge on who can be the one to get respect and be the one pushing forward. But I could see Aswell getting his timing, extending his combinations, and touching Almeida, pushing him up against the fence to where he can't use his footwork, he's not moving his head and catch him, or kind of start to build momentum as the fight progresses and just kind of take over with his pace and his volume. But I'm gonna go with Almeida. I think he'll be able to do enough, mix up the fight well enough to win rounds and get a decision over Michael Aswell. Thanks.